Well, greetings, everyone, and welcome once again to another show. This is, I see our president is here very faithfully, even though he is actually away in Orlando. So kudos to our president. But let me get started here with my little rant before the show starts. Good evening. As most of you know, I am James E. King III, and I am a Vietnam veteran and veteran advocate. I want to welcome you to another edition of We the People, where we confront the hard truths America would rather keep tucked under the table. Tonight, we're going to talk about something that isn't flashy, it isn't trending, and doesn't make headlines, but it's killing communities every single day. I call it starvation economy because not many people aren't working, not because people don't have dreams, but because we're living in a system that shrinks the table, raises the prices, closes the stores, cuts the benefits, and has the nerve to call it personal responsibility. Food deserts popping up like potholes, grocery chains abandoning neighborhoods, SNAP shrinking while inflation grows like weeds on steroids. Healthcare people gate gatekeep by people who legislate with insult. The same system starting us tells us that we should feel grateful for scraps, grateful for whatever's left on the aisle, even after Kroger packs up and leaves. Tonight, we're ripping that mask off. Manufactured scarcity. And we are initiating policies and practices that are leaving communities behind. Someone else is always walking away with the groceries. Let's get into it. I see everyone is in the queue tonight to start off here with Brother Masada. Uh, Brother, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How is everybody doing? I'm a little tired out here traveling. I brought all the family with me, so out here with the kids and them being on flights and the long, long flights and delays and everything. But we're good. We're ready. We're here. How's everybody else doing?
Good to see you, fellas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Glad to be back.
Uh, uh, Javon, how have you been? Haven't I know you've been busy with schoolwork, so we try not to bother you too much. How have you been?
No worries. I'm busy, man. I'm good, but I'm busy. I just two jobs and I'm a full-time student, so it's a lot. Like especially this week, I just got done with like my last final today, actually. So I was like, yeah, I could do this finally. But it's good to be back, and it's good to have these kinds of things on my mind. I was looking at the prompts. I'm like, yeah, like this is important. It's not something that you see all the time or hear people talking about too much unless you're in those communities. So I'm glad to be back, and I'm doing all right. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this chat.
Brother Demetrius, how you been? I know you've been traveling. There's no telling what you've encountered in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, exactly. In a hotel right now, because you know how it goes. Sometimes it's glamorous locations, and sometimes you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana. So, right? No disrespect, but that's it is what it is. I'm glad to be with y'all though. We got to do what we got to do. I wish I was in Orlando at Disney, right? but I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so that's all good.
Brother Derek, let's see. I know you're here.
Yeah, I am. I'm
There
trying
he
to
is.
figure this out. I'm here incognito right now, right?
Exactly. We see the book cover. That's
Yeah.
what matters, bro. We see the book cover.
I'm telling you.
We see you when we see you, but we got that book.
Yeah, let me go get my resident expert to see if I can.
So the
figure it
12-year-old in the house got to come take care of this.
He's not 12, but he could certainly do it. So.
Brother Masada, as you were speaking today, you are also in Orlando, and you will be giving your presentation tomorrow. How have you been welcomed? Let's put it like that.
Can you all hear me, or am I froze?
No, we can hear you.
Both can be true. We hear
All
you.
right,
But
yeah,
your
they both
picture
can be
is
true. Cool. Well, first, Demetrius, you are here with me. You played a really big part in this. All you all did. I thank you all. Javon, hey, young man, keep going to school, brother. We got you. We know you here with
Yeah,
us.
exactly.
Do your school
Exactly.
thing. But Demetrius, your numbers are helping. That's going to be a big part of the presentation. CCE is going to be a big part of it. I've been received good and bad. My presentations are what I live. I live off experience, like the locks.
Yeah.
First coming down here, we go to one resort. The lady don't even want to look and see my confirmation name. Don't even want to look at my number. Don't even want to look at me. Whatever. I'm like, I'm still cool with it. To shorten it up, there's a lot of good things going on, a lot of bad things going on, and I feel like it's supposed to be that way. And that's just preparing me. But I got all the love, and I'm focused.
See, speak it into existence, right?
Exactly.
So now you are froze, but yes, I am trying to see if we can get his presentation live on the show tomorrow. It'll be really early for me out here in California. Well, not early, but I believe it'll be from
8:00.
8 to 9.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
now, I wanted to get you some more data. I couldn't find anything that was reliable enough that I wanted you to speak on. I found a couple of things, but when I sourced them, I said, I don't know how reliable this is. And I didn't want to get you that bad info. So I didn't come through with that last piece, but I just couldn't find anything that I felt super comfortable with.
Y'all gave me a team that's supportive, and we all have the same purpose.
Yep.
So let's kind of get started with our first segment tonight. What is the starvation economy? And Demetrius, I'm going to let you provide the data for that. What percent of the Black neighborhoods are losing grocery access, SNAP reduction timelines, things like that?
Yeah, so there's two ways to look at it, like how it feels and looks to us, and then like what the data says. So some of the approach I looked at here was food apartheid is a real thing, right? There's a persistence of food deserts. We know what they are, and we have talked about, and I'm sure I missed last week. I hope you guys got a chance to talk about. There's a direct link to historical systemic things, to urban planning, housing policies. There's been systemic divestment from our communities. These are kind of factual things. They will tell you it's market forces, right? They will try and soft shoe you and say it's market forces. The data says it's not. That it's not random. It's structurally determined. That it disproportionately affects our communities. The USDA estimates that millions of Americans in low income areas have poor access to healthy food. It is not an accident. It is not just the way the cookie is crumbled. It's a data point that feeds an ongoing economic and health inequality that was structurally developed over decades, right? The reduction in SNAP and SNAP changes for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. I assume everybody knows what SNAP is, right? It changes, right? Expiration on emergency allotments changes, and these things disproportionately impact vulnerable populations. That's just the reality. That, i.e., poor people, Black people, Hispanic people, right? The people who rely on it most because of income gaps and the inequality that we've talked about. The real, what the data says is when federal aid ends, the impact to a certain group is quicker and more impactful than others, right? And it can be directly traced to policy decisions, failed funding that didn't pass, or the consequences of food insecurity in general. The data supports the impact when you do this relative to SNAP. When you talk about income, inflation and wage stagnation, we talked about this, and it's the same story. Some reports will indicate to you that overall wages are rising faster than prices, but the reality is that if you're in the low income bracket, that is different for you because if the prices are rising higher than your wages, the gap just widens, right? And so essential stuff like groceries and rent skyrocket, but your wage moves at a moderate level, you just increase the gap. It's not getting better, even though it might sound better, because the distribution is not equitable, right? The data can be interpreted as a result of policy choices that favor corporations or the top 10% over the financial stability of everyday Americans. That's what the data suggests. I can bore you with a whole lot of percentages, but for some reason you only gave me 3 minutes, and you know me, and you've known me. I don't even know what that's about. But okay, I'm trying to rock with it because I respect.
No, go ahead.
I respect Jovan. I respect Brother Masala. I'm trying to rock with it, right? So in terms of healthcare cliffs, right? That picture is like small increases in income makes families suddenly ineligible for subsidies, and that's a trick bag that really hurts us, right? You have to then choose between essential coverage and other basic needs because you had this small increase in your income. Now you are in a different bracket, right? And the data says that's flawed. That whole design, it crushes the social safety nets. It shows specific income thresholds create this abrupt disincentives to earn more. It's literally it tricks people or gets people to think about whether or not earning more is actually to their benefit, because if they earn a little more money but it moves them to a bracket where everything is more expensive, that's the cliff, that's the trick bag. And it is collectively all these data points show the same thing, like face the challenges that are faced by low income and minority communities are not accidental misfortune, no matter what they might want to try and convince you. The measurable outcomes of this economic, housing, and social policies over decades. The data is easy. I could give you a lot more, but like I said, I had 10 minutes worth of data and 3 minutes to talk, so I had to make my choice.
Treat that 3 minutes like we treat the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit here in California.
Yeah, I mean, my overall is
That's all
just
I can tell.
All these things are interwoven. They're connected, right? And they are part of this structural, systemic thing that has created a wealth gap, an income gap, a healthcare gap, and it's designed to disproportionately impact low income, Black, and Hispanic people. All the data supports what I'm saying.
Brother Derek, glad to see you could join us. And as I said, you can treat that 3 minutes like the 55-mile speed limit we do out here. But discuss some of these federal programs, structured with loopholes that hurt the poor people. Can you kind of explain how policies seem to advance scarcity?
So I wanted to go the other way and talk about the ACA, but I'll chime in. I'll chime in with the SNAP in the sense of, so the big beautiful bill. So it cuts taxes for the richest 10% of Americans, and by well over $50,000 a year. And you think about what SNAP pays out even on an average. So the most they're going to get is like $14,700 per household. So how many? That's 5 people that each of those people could fund on SNAP. So it's the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. And you think about how that process works. So that in 2023, the average SNAP household received $332 a month. So You're going to take that from people. What is that? That's not even $5,000 a year to give the richest 10% an additional 50%, $50,000 in tax benefit. Hey, as a friend of mine from California says, who does that make sense to? So even SNAP households with children would receive average monthly benefits of $574. So I mean, come on now, who are we serving here? That's my question in all this. And so I've not been in a position of having to receive SNAP or needing SNAP, but I'm saying what we're doing is we're making a deeper, more entrenched, impoverished society. You know, the lower third is becoming quite quickly become the lower half. And then, you know, you have this, and Demetrius, Demetrius would know this much better than me, but that upper 10%, you know, is growing, and the middle class is shrinking, and the bottom tier is growing exponentially. And so that's the society we're creating, and because of policy. And I'll stop there because I'm sure I'll get a chance to talk about the Affordable Care Act a little later.
Yeah, and the various things that's really strange about some of the things that when you talk about statistic wise, it does seem well. Before I get off of my rant, Javon, you spoke about having two jobs, and still being able to still going to school, but uh, you know. Uh, in a country as rich as this, that I mean, having a job and going to school was something that my generation, probably we thought it was kind of normal, but especially living here in San Diego, I remember coming here in 2003 and I needed three jobs. Well, I didn't need three jobs, but I had three jobs in order for me to live comfortably out here. But once again, you start talking about, what it takes to live. No, what it takes to survive. Talk to me about being able to survive as a student.
So, as far as being a student goes, I'll start off by saying I'm from the United States of California, in the sense of California makes it very easy comparative to other states. So I will say, as far as like finances go, um, as a junior college student, that's not like I have it sort of easy, but to even say that I have it easy based off of that, it's like a stretch because I still feel like I'm in survival mode. And if I'm being quite frank, like I don't think I've ever seen a world as an adult where I wasn't being like starved in that way. And so I guess uh, when I looked into the starvation economy and what you were like initially talking about and kind of relating it to my world, I just feel like as a generation, like we don't we've never known a day without this kind of stuff. And I feel like hearing you guys talk about the statistics and what's actually going on in modern time, just now, even like hearing you guys about it, I thought about it a lot more because it's more relevant now than it probably ever has been. And that's crazy to say because it was still an issue when I was just entering adulthood. But yeah, I guess circling back to your question about just what it's like to be a college student working two jobs. I mean, it's not fun, but I honestly, it's like so standard. Like I feel like all my classmates are doing the same thing. It's just the hustle and the grind, and that's just how we're choosing to navigate uh, the the starvation economy that we live in, essentially. So yeah, if that was scattered, I apologize, but I guess those are the things that came to my mind when faced with that question.
Uh, I'm going to kind of veer away from this for one moment because Derek, I wanted to kind of ask you in your experiences, and in this particular example, I'm going to use Israel. Why do we give so much money to a country that provides free education to its population, but yet we cannot provide free education for our own country?
Well, I think it was political. It was strictly political. And I would say it's two things. It's political primarily. And secondly, the U.S. Has pretty much always sided with Israel. Since Israel came into existence in, what was it, 1947, I want to
47.
And so part of that is our framing ourselves, and I'm a Christian, but framing ourselves as a Judeo-Christian nation, and we have sided with them. And I think the other part of it, the reason that it's geopolitical, is that in that portion of the Mideast, most of the people are not pro-American for the vast majority. And since Israel is, it allows us to maintain a very strategic partner, a powerful one that helps to kind of keep a certain balance in that region. And so it has nothing to do with what we should be doing domestically for our people and enhancing our people, because particularly in this administration, they believe that, the people that are welcome here are the people that are hugely intelligent from Asia and other places. That we're bringing in that intellectual capital where we tend to be starving our own, because certainly the black folk that go to college now, that can get into college because of the new rules, are very limited, right? Because those slots are all being filled by other people. I won't get specific, but Javon knows who those people are. And at the risk of black people, the people who quite honestly built this country through slavery. So that's what it is. It's and we know that the Jewish community is very, very affluent, very wealthy, control lots of
I love it.
and all these other places, right? So all of those are factors. So it's being very strategic, is what it is.
That's as good an answer as you'll get to any question tonight. It is 100% geopolitical. That ally.
Wait, can we backpedal? Wait, so
that is a great answer.
You said Israel was a thing in 1947, you said?
Yeah.
Wait, so
they didn't have a nation until 1947.
So what were they before that? Why?
They were scattered.
Hurt your feelings down there.
Exactly.
Yeah. They've been scattered.
Palestine. That's what it was.
My mind is blown by that. Okay.
They didn't exist before 1947.
Yeah.
The answer was perfect.
Jesus.
Geopolitical thing,
all right.
and that's what it's about. It's about that ally
Jesus.
in that region of the world. It's critical.
Good.
Hold on. So this is what y'all doing to me. I'm about to go tomorrow and speak, and we blowing it up. I love y'all. I love y'all.
Derek nailed that, man. I had to
I wasn't looking for that question, but
I know he threw me to a curveball. And
you want to go to Israel? Okay.
He just put it in the left field.
Well, I'm just wondering why we can subsidize countries that give free education to their population, like I said, but you have to give your firstborn, your secondborn, and everything else in order for you to get to college here.
I'm all for it. My name is Masada. It comes from Israel. It's a mountain over in Israel. They have the climate to pass it. I teach it Jewish schools and all. They love me. My whole name is Hebrew. Had them tell me I'm a real Israelite and all that. Also had a girl tell me that from between their 5th grade to the 10th grade, I believe. Don't quote me on it, but I know they all go to Mount Masada, and it's all a free trip for them. And basically, she told me they're off good. I don't need to give no money to nothing. They're off good. And she looked at me and asked if I understood what I meant about their kids get to go to Masada no matter where they're at. And so that's a big expensive trip. So I'm here with y'all. I love y'all, but go ahead.
It's great. Excuse the language. Geopolitics is real shit. It is real. And Derek just broke it down perfect. I got nothing to add. Perfect.
I just like to throw those curveballs every once in a
Yeah.
while.
You tried to get him. He stepped in the box and went Barry Bonds on you. That's okay.
I tell you something, James, real quick that kind of ties into this, and this is really getting political. So I have a son who's part of a team that leads these tours to Israel, but not just Israel, but they also go into Palestine, and so that they see both sides of it. And they're getting this tour, and they go up on a rooftop on one of the buildings in Palestine, which of course has been leveled by now, right? We know that those buildings don't exist anymore. And some of the hosts go and show them, pick up some armaments, some of the unexploded armaments, and say, and of course on the armaments it says "Made in the USA," because this is what you all are supporting, are the destruction of our people, and of course they've been fighting, Javon, for thousands of years.
Oh, yeah.
They literally have, but I'm just saying, so we play a role in that, certainly by providing them with munitions that I mean, they can afford to get them, but they want the best, and they get them from us.
As a nation, we're never walking away from Israel. Don't.
No,
It's just not going to happen.
It won't happen.
And another reason why I kind of asked that question is I just saw a commercial a few moments ago, and it was talking about violence against Jewish people. And I believe it was maybe a year and a half ago, I saw probably the same commercial that was directed toward the Asian population.
Yeah.
But I've never seen a commercial for both guys. I mean,
It's well done, Mr. King. Well done.
You won't.
And you won't.
Masada, you want to start that conversation?
That's a great Masada one, man. You should
Man, y'all really want to do this. All right. So it's not just a commercial. I'm gonna talk real. It's not just a commercial. I was in LA driving through. I don't know if a lot of people know about California and LA. LA is big and affluent. In LA, they have big Jewish communities. I mean, you go through, they got the synagogues, it's just nice. You see a whole lot of rich and stuff out there. And they had these signs in these buses that said, not verbatim, but the quote was, "I get discriminated against because of my yarmulke." And all I thought about was, I get discriminated because of my skin, and I can't take that off. If you take your yarmulke off, I don't know if you're Jewish or if you're white. And that I can probably look hard and I can tell your features, and I love everybody. First of all, let me say that to the Jewish community. When I say my name is Jewish, I go to Jewish schools. They love me. I love everybody. But if we're being real and we're talking real, when I seen that, it offended me, and it offends me because when we talk about the Asian bill, the hate bill, if I have a fight with an Asian person that calls me the N word and I beat their ass, I'm going to jail. If I see a Jewish person, and once again, if they take off their yarmulke, I'm sorry, I love you all, but if you put you in a room with a bunch of other Middle Easterns, even Palestinians, and even the people you don't like, I couldn't tell the difference really. So with that, being persecuted and having y'all, I don't like comparing the Holocaust to slavery, because this is how I end that with this. Nowadays, nobody is in real life slavery but us. I cannot take my skin off. I didn't get reparations. I think so many people paid reparations for the Jewish, even America, and we're still paying it. I don't like politics, um, and I don't like religion, and it seems like they're going hand in hand when every creed says there's not supposed to, and we're playing favorites. And I wish that for people to be so persecuted and then to come up, they would realize and look at us and see just as how much we're being persecuted, and they're adding to that, and stand up with us. I don't want to fight with them. I don't want to fight with anybody. I want them to stand up with us. So it does hurt my feelings to see those commercials. It hurts my feelings to see those advertisements, because once again, in a world 2025, I'm not talking about 400, 500 years ago when they tell us we should forget about it. I'm talking about right now. Right now, we don't own TV stations. We don't own radio stations. We don't own the American government. And if you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. So
Oh, we
He's been
lost
censored.
him.
He's been censored.
They found his ass. Oh,
Took him out.
boy, they got you. Oh man, sorry,
Set
brother.
his PC on fire
Somebody hacked into his
with
shit.
that red.
He got a little too hot. That's on us. We said, "Oh, there he is." He
Oh,
got.
we are so back.
They didn't get him. They didn't get him. Whew.
They tried. It's all good. Listen, nobody can get me because we're here.
This is too good, man. This is too good, brother. Oh,
But you know something though, James. Let me add this, and I won't be long with it. But traditionally, historically, Jewish folk have been very supportive of the black community and black freedom and the emergence of the black equality. I mean, several of Dr. King's inner circle, in fact, and they really chased them out. And I don't mean Dr. King and them, but I mean the government, Intel Pro, and several of the, just like they destroyed the
wasn't
Black
one of
Panthers and many other people.
what was it? One of the three boys in Mississippi.
Two of them were.
yep.
Cheney was the black one, and Swerner and Goodman were Jewish, and several there have been a litany of them, but they supported the civil rights movement financially and strategically. One of Dr. King's key persons who taught him nonviolent civil disobedience was Jewish. So there has been a historical linkage because hey, they were persecuted. To the extent they were the Holocaust, right? So they really did align with us.
I'm not saying that they weren't our allies. I'm just speaking of priorities in America.
Yeah.
I was gonna.
That was my point, and I'm sure Demetrius, do stats prove me right or wrong?
100%. And I think Derek makes a great point. Whether it's Jack Greenberg, who was the director counsel for the NAACP, or Joel and Arthur Spingard, there's a number, right? There's a history that goes there that shows people who contributed to the early leadership in the civil rights movement. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Herschel was one of Dr. King's trusted advisors. Yeah. So the data supports that. I think that's a really good point to bring up.
Javon, maybe I should be more angry at the educational system than surprised by your remark. But you really weren't taught in school that there was no Israel before 1947. I mean. That's
we weren't taught geopolitics at all. I got so many gaps that you guys are talking about. I'm like, dude, I've never heard that before. I learned it in bits and pieces from social media. Unfortunately, as situations develop, like I had no idea about Israel and Palestine until this whole thing came up. Like before that, you know what I'm saying? So it seems to be a trend. I think part of why I'm here and why I involve myself with these things is because like. I'm so frustrated that I wasn't educated about any of this, and so I tried to go further as an adult. But yeah, no, I really did not know that, and so I mean, I guess that also is a full circle moment as to like why I come to these things. I'm like not always like for me, it's not just about sharing opinions; it's about picking up things and learning. So, but yeah, no, I did not learn about that to answer your question. No, unfortunately.
Masada, let's see if we can get you a full.
Listen, they summed it up right. It's not everybody. It's just like somebody saying they don't like a black person because their father got robbed by one or something like that. It's not everybody. It's not a whole of everything. We have allies on all sides. When I'm speaking, I am speaking to everybody, allies and non-allies, people who have a heart, people who have a mind, people who have a conscience and soul to know the truth. A lot of people get offended when you speak truth nowadays, and I know that's what we're here for. We're here to give you cold hard facts. That's why Demetrius has the data. We're here to fact check everything.
but we're here to give you my facts and my realness is that once again, I ain't got nothing to put on to tell you I'm black. My skin was born to tell you I'm black, and that's how the world sees me. And they don't see me, and they need to see me. When we talk about Dr. King and his allies and everything, he had a team, and I wonder what that team felt when he said the context of my character and not the color of my skin. Because once again, right now, those people's skin are closer to people's skin who oppress us. I believe in. I told you when I first started, when we a couple of shows ago, podcast. Every country around the world has more black people and black skin. When I say black people, more black skin than anything, and yet we're the most persecuted around the world.
Yeah. Yeah, and just for the sake of correct data, because you know me, I'm a data guy. The UN voted to split the land in 1947. Right, I think it was in November. Resolution, I hate guessing. I think it's 181. Resolution 181. That's when the UN split the land. The actual creation of the state of Israel was technically in 1948, like the next year. It was actually months later. I think maybe May when they declared their independence. So I just wanted to correct that. We're saying 47 because that's when the UN passed a resolution that said, hey, there's a Jewish piece and a Palestine piece. We're splitting it up. And then of course war broke out, right? But I think the declaration was actually in the middle of 48 for the record.
Okay. This is good to know.
I do want to kind of get us back on track here, talking about.
This is too much fun. Why are we gonna get back on track? Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, hey, because Kroger's is a brand that's pretty, familiar to most of us. Under one, Rouse, maybe, Piggly Wiggly, different entities, but same parent company. Mm-hmm. And it seems like Kroger, and it's funny, when I first moved out here in 2003, as I've told most of you, I was a scab. I went across the picket line and worked for Rouse, and that's a Kroger company. But it does seem like when Kroger and starts closing stores, the first stores that they close are in the Black and brown community. And it means that now you have to go into a community where you are unwanted and unwelcome in order to get the necessities. Not just the luxuries. We're talking about necessities. We're talking about soap. Stuff like that. Stuff to wash. We ain't talking about no ribeye steaks, no tomahawks and stuff like that. We're talking about getting necessities. And as I mentioned before, it also seems that you can also go to most fast food stores now and also use your SNAP cards. Mm-hmm. Now, this is, you can't tell me that this is not a matter of economics. When you're trying to milk the neighborhood of every dime and dollar that you can, and as we've been saying since Dr. Martin Luther King, these dollars do not go back into our neighborhood. Brother Derek, throw you another landmine.
Well, we don't spend our money with we don't turn our money around. In fact, that's one thing that the Jewish community is notorious for. Oh, yeah. And I say notorious in a very positive way, is that their money changes hands at least 7 times before it leaves the community in any way, shape, and form. And sometimes it doesn't leave the community. And in our case, it's sprinting out of the community, quite frankly. And part of it is exactly what you said. Like here in Georgia, we have Kroger's. In fact, I have a Kroger a half a mile from me. But the higher end stores, like, I don't think you guys probably don't have Publix in California, but we have
pavilions. We have pavilions out here.
Okay, so it would be, now those tend to leave our community. And the Kroger's, I think and Kroger's is solid, but we don't tend to get I don't think the top end goods from Kroger. I think they tend to go on the other side of town. So I think it's not that much different, unfortunately. And probably, and we know that ultimately when we spend our money, when you shared that last time about the EBT cards, but when we go and use them for fast foods, we know that that leads to all kind of health complications, and we're not getting what's quality. And so it is a vicious circle, and I don't even see how that benefits anybody to do that, but that is the truth of what happens. And I think I mentioned this last time. One of the things that when I worked at the SCLC, my boss who did the benediction when Obama first got elected, because he was one of the first or the second primary black leader to come out and say, I support this guy. I'm not going to support Hillary, because all of the established Democratic community was lining up behind her because she had paid her dues and was deserving. She was the anointed one. And anyway, so he had this campaign called Teach Our Dollars Some Sense. And it was all about investing in the black banks, investing in your black community. And so he really hammered that home. And not only did we do that, and you're going to talk about some of this later, but we talked about some of the ways that we brought retribution to companies that didn't honor and respect what was important to us. Like we had something, Winn Dixie's out here, and Winn Dixie's, I don't know if they have any Winn Dixie's in California, probably not, because y'all make too much money. But so Winn Dixie was importing peaches from South Africa. So we went and sat in Winn Dixie and closed the stores down to make them stop doing that. Georgia Power was importing coal from South Africa. And we're talking about when South Africa was deep into apartheid. So we protested and stopped spending our money and shut down their corporate gatherings to the point that they stopped importing that coal from South Africa and stopped importing the peaches when Dixie did. So you just have to be willing to put something on the line. And I don't know, I think we're now such a fractured community. It's hard to get people on the same page. But I was reading, and I know you'll talk about this later, about the specific, in fact, I got this it's called the Times of San Diego, and you guys are all familiar with that. I didn't know anything about it. I saw the newspaper today because they were talking about the boycott, the Black Friday boycott that's supposed to go all the way into the first of the year, and how California has their own boycott that's even more extensive. So I love to hear how you all feel like, if that's been impactful, if we have bought into the boycott, or if we're still doing what we did.
Masada, you want to speak to that?
Well, the boycott, I don't like half-ass stuff, and I feel like we half-ass stuff, and I feel like I'm part of that as well. It's hard. I think me and you, James, talked about it the other day. It's hard to boycott certain stuff when certain stuff is actually beneficial and they make it cheaper. Here's a big one, and I don't even want to speak on the dude's name, but I'll speak on the company, Amazon. Right? Amazon makes something that if I need it right now, I have to have it. I can get it in probably the same day in California, which sucks because I know some people can't, or I can get it the next day, and I can probably get it for $7, maybe $10. If I want to go to the Walmart, if I want to go to any other stores I named, it's going to be about $15 or $10 or $10 more. Not only will I have to get out my bed and go fill a gas car up and go use the gas station and all that, I got to spend about 20, 30 more dollars than I want to. So convenience. I wish that if we boycotted stuff, that we would just say, let's do it. America should boycott, and not just for Black Fridays, not just let's boycott everything. But if we're going to boycott, we're going to really have to boycott, and that's really hard to do. So some of the boycotts do work. California is big at revolting. I really like it. They've been having, what do they call it, 24-hour Oh man, they can't call it. We call it the 24-hour block parties or something like that. They've been having. And all it is it's been boycotting ICE, boycotting a lot of different things. But I don't really think that's enough until we all do it and we all say we all have a laid out plan of how we're gonna do it and all stick to it and we all do it.
It's easy to boycott Target when I got Amazon Prime. I'm just
A real boycott isn't easy. That's the point.
yeah.
All those people walking around Montgomery, Alabama in 1956, they could have just said, "Oh, it would be more convenient if I just jumped on the bus instead of walking." A real boycott requires sacrifice, and I think that's what Masada's saying, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm agreeing with you. Like, we have to really understand the sacrifice if we really want to make substantive change.
You got to have skin in the game.
Exactly. It is a real boycott. There hasn't been a real boycott probably since 1956 or somewhere back then.
Somewhere back.
Really want to make change? That's it. But you said it, James. I don't care. I can boycott Target as long as I got Amazon. Okay. All right. Okay. It's like the people in Montgomery in 56 saying, "I don't have to take the bus. I'll just Uber." Uber would have been around.
When we do boycott and when we do stand up, the game is over with, and that's how it changed without us just directly blowing it up or doing an insurgent. Really, by I believe Derek talked about a lot of times when y'all did the Martin Luther King and he was there, you hit them in their pockets. The boycotts is supposed to hit people in their pockets. We have cancel culture nowadays, and that's how you hit people in the pocket. But it seems like they only want to cancel culture. They don't like what somebody said. Not if somebody died. Not if I'm going to jail or if I'm getting harassed. But only if they don't like something somebody said about somebody being just some wording. Not nothing real.
Right.
Now, Javon, how does your generation feel about boycotts?
Well, I mean, the fact that we're in survival mode, like Masada was saying, it's like hard to just ditch everything, especially when like ditching something means that you're gonna have to pay more in some other way, some other how. So like, it's hard, but we still do things like, I mean, we've been boycotting Target for a long time because of the whole Israel thing, to the point where Target's made major changes and differences and stuff in the way that they're marketing. So, I mean, we did the same thing for Starbucks. It's little things that we try to do, but again, it's like we're already in starvation mode. We're already struggling to survive. So it's really hard to boycott something when, like, if we boycott, we're going to be even worse off than we already are as a generation, like financially just trying to make it out in the world. So yeah, that's still not an excuse. You still, like, other generations have had it worse. So I say that knowing that it's still a possibility, but it's difficult, and we try to do micro things in in the thick of all of the struggles and all the things that we have bombarding us as a generation. And it's definitely still on our minds. I mean, I see it on TikTok all the time. Boycotting this, let's not do this. All this stuff, yada yada, and I guess that's how I feel about it. And I'm on a completely different note, though. I'm kind of curious. Masada, you mentioned something about cancel culture, and I thought it was a good point, and I kind of wanted to hear this rant, but you kind of cut yourself off because you're talking about how, like, cancel culture, it was almost like you were saying cancel culture wasn't enough, like, because people cancel someone for saying the wrong thing, but then, like, when there's bigger situations where somebody got killed or something, there's not enough people talking about it. And so I just wanted to, you don't have to talk if you don't want to, but I just thought it was really interesting. I like this take, and I wanted to see where you were going with it. Because I mean, I'm the generation of people that are canceling individuals. So
yeah.
So
I mean, you do it better. You do it better at it than what I am. You get it. I don't want to go into too much of a rant because I'm still preparing for tomorrow. But at the same time, I want to give you all time to talk and all. And that to me is just basically like you summed it up. People will cancel. They'll take Dave Chappelle for example. He talks a lot about the LGBTQ community and all, and they wanted to try to come at him. But if he talks about us dying, or if he talks about, he made a good point about when I talk about sports. He said, y'all should be glad that we got sports because on the same day something was happening, I think, to Trayvon Martin or somebody, LeBron was breaking a record. And guess what everybody thought about? LeBron breaking the record. So it took their minds off of the real drama, real pain that we're in. You talk about school, you talk about survival instincts and all that. They feed us so much different stuff that we don't have time to really focus and sit down and be like, what's the real issue? The real issue is I got to wake up every day, and if I don't wake up every day and go work for somebody else who has 4 penthouses somewhere, 3 vacation houses somewhere else, and 5 cars that they ain't using, then I'm gonna starve. If I don't go to work, I'm gonna lose my job. I'm gonna be needy. I'm gonna need SNAP benefits. Oh, I might not get SNAP benefits. It's ridiculous in California where we stay at. You can be broke enough to not qualify for subsidies. You can be broke enough to not qualify, but then you can be overpaid enough.
Yep.
Wait, oh, you can be overpaid enough to not qualify, but broke enough to not have nothing.
Yeah.
It don't make sense.
Yep. Been there. Okay. I like that.
Another thing I'd like to talk about real quick before we talk about Obamacare or the lack thereof, or what they're trying to do to it. But Demetrius, I'm going to kind of throw this landmine to you. I know that there are some giant oak trees in Detroit that have been growing since approximately 1966, 67, where there used to be a drugstore,
Yep.
maybe a school district, but these lots have been empty, and as I said, in some of these neighborhoods, there isn't a CVS. There isn't even a Dollar General. Which we kind of talked about.
Yeah.
Not even a Big Lots. So how? I mean, using the starvation economy as a model, how have we allowed our neighborhoods to get in such disarray, or is this part of a political strategy?
Both things can be true, right? There is absolutely a structure that says whether it's a grocery store or a drugstore, whether it's hospitals or where do we get care, there is a structural piece to this where low income Black and Hispanics are disproportionately impacted by policy. It, I could run off data around healthcare deductibles and how they've doubled. I could run off data about the stores closing, like we've talked about, and they'll give you an okey doke about, oh, it's high costs and we're getting online competition and we're doing profit mapping to close underperforming stores. It is just coincidental that what you call an underperforming store is in a low income neighborhood, and it's just a vicious cycle. Of course, you think it's in a low income neighborhood. How is it going to perform? So then, the example Derek used, Publix, where I am is probably Whole Foods, right? You got to go a distance to get to Whole Foods. You got to go to a certain neighborhood to get. They don't want you out there. That's why it's out there, because they don't want your ass out there, right? But you pass $5 stores, $8 stores on your way to Whole Foods, right? Or you pass that store that they call underperforming because their AI generated whatever says the demographics and the competition and the climate and blah blah blah, when really what it is just a cycle, right? And they will use profit mapping and things like that to show. Or like I said, I'm a little all over the place, because high level, what you're really talking about is displacement. That's what it is. It is displacement directly aimed at low income Black and Hispanic communities. That's what it is, and it can be some economic factors, inflation, and I talked earlier about wages not rising as high as prices. As far as stores, they'll talk about Amazon and stuff like that, probably. But when you get into the healthcare stuff, it's too clear. It's too clear that deductibles have doubled in the last decade. It's prescription drug prices up 38% since 2013, 2014. Average increase is not in line with inflation. and the price of specific drugs, all the data. Like I said, I won't. I would love to bore you with the data, but I won't. But all the data says the impact to people of color and low income people is that we don't take our medicine, so then we end up going to the hospital for basic care because it's easier than going to the doctor, right? And now you're in medical debt because you had to call an ambulance once because you weren't taking your medicine, and you got an ambulance bill and you got medical debt. And guess what? It feeds that same cycle. Now you got the medical debt keeps you where they want you in terms of wealth, right? You're down where Derek talked about earlier in that percentage. That's just getting bigger with all of these things. So I don't know if I answered your question because there's so many ways to go, whether it's food insecurity, stores, medical, drugs. There's all of it. Some of it is legitimately things happen. Pandemic changed the world, economy changes things. All those things are real, but you cannot ignore the data that shows you the structural connection to how disproportionately low income Black and Hispanic people are impacted by legitimate policy. You just can't ignore it. It's all over the place.
Derek, if I was in a press conference right now, I'd probably be called stupid because I'm trying to figure out when I used to go to the drugstore and get my grandmother's insulin. It cost about $2.50, maybe something around. Maybe even less, maybe $1 and something. What have they put in insulin since that time that makes it 20 times the price, or maybe 200 times the price? I'm sorry.
You know, the real issue, James, is so many more people need insulin now.
Exactly.
And so they can raise the price because you got to have it, right?
Exactly.
And so that means that it really isn't about. It's not about the people. It's about the profitability, right?
Exactly.
And that's kind of what is just as Demetrius kind of just said. When you talk about healthcare, poor people, uninsured people, wait until they drag themselves to the hospital,
Exactly.
and so emergency care always costs 3 to 5 times more than preventative care.
Exactly.
So in fact, let me say this about what the Affordable Care Act was designed to do, and we can do it later if you want, James.
But no. Go ahead.
So there are what are called 10 essential health benefits, and remember that the party in charge now, you know whose party, they fought this tooth and nail. Okay, for a lot of reasons. One thing they said, this Congressman Javon out of South Carolina said it's the politically correct thing to be against the Black man in the White House. So, because he represented what the Affordable Care Act was designed to do. 7 presidents before had tried to put together some form of universal health care, which is essentially what the Affordable Care Act is. And it wasn't perfect. It needed work. It still isn't perfect. But what it did, 10 essential things that you had to have. One was ambulatory patient services. So you could, if you had to get admitted to the hospital, you could be admitted to any hospital. Emergency services, regardless of where you were, you could get in and be seen by a doctor. These were what were designed. Inpatient care included surgery and overnight. See, a lot of people had what they call junk insurance policies that didn't include any of these things. Maternal and newborn care. Now, a lot of men, particularly single men, balked at this. They said, well, I'll never be pregnant. I'll never have a baby. Why should I have to get this insurance? And there was a reason. So, well, let me finish this and I'll hit on the subsidies real quick. Mental health and substance disorder services. I wish LaSalle was here because you think about how important that is right now when so many people are stressed out. So many people are hungry. So many people are trying to figure out the next meal or where they live. Mental health is huge, and that's been just ravaged under this administration. It's been cut. I don't know the percentages, but it's been cut really bad. Prescription drugs were part of these 10 essential health benefits that every American had to have access to. And also, another key thing is if you had a pre-existing condition, whether it was diabetes, whether it was heart disease, whether it was, autism, whether it was cancer, before you could get charged higher rates because you had this pre-existing condition. The Affordable Care Act said you cannot do that. So what the subsidies did was, let's say, if you had 1 million people that signed up on the Affordable Care Act, some of that money for everybody was paying was for the people who couldn't really afford the Affordable Care Act. And think about the people who park cars, the people who harvest our fruits and vegetables, people who stack our cans in our grocery stores, and people that pick up our trash and cut our grass. A lot of them couldn't afford health insurance, a place to stay, transportation to get back and forth. So it allowed these people. And so for one thing is there are fewer Black people who are uninsured than any other time in history. And a lot of poor people too. So these were the things. And for example, in the 8 states I worked in, 7 of the 8 were conservative. They were Republicans, and they voted against it because guess what? They had premium health insurance. Now, if poor people, whether they were Black or white, didn't, it's okay. And too many of the white people, the poor white people who are about to get ravaged right now, quite honestly, by this guy who they believed in, they voted against their own best interest and voted based on somebody who looked like them, who they wanted to be like, but didn't care anything about them. So the subsidies allowed people who couldn't afford the insurance to be able to be insured, many for the very first times in their lives. And that's something that's being fought now. So the plan that the GOP wants to institute, I think it's the Cassidy Dodge plan, doesn't include most of these 10 essential health benefits. It's just the bare minimum. We used to call them junk plans. And I spent 6 years implementing these policies. And I could tell you 100 stories about how it saved people's lives, particularly because they had to get an annual physical, which is part of this. And in the annual physical, you find things out about people. Exactly. You find out about problems. And then you get prescribed things. You get told you got to exercise, and we're going to get back together in 3 months to see how you're doing on this. But you catch stuff before it becomes catastrophic. But they don't care about that. And so all the rural hospitals, tons of rural hospitals in this country are closing. So let's say a pregnant woman has to drive 100 miles to get to a hospital. What happens if she has an emergency? That child has to come. So there's so many stories like that. And that's what the subsidies allow people to make. Some people can get their insurance for $10 or $50 or $100 a month, who could have never afforded it. And so those premiums, I don't know if you know, we have a congressman here, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was super MAGA. Well, she found out her 2 kids who were on Obamacare, their premiums were going up 3 times. And then all of a sudden she got a revelation.
She woke up one morning.
It was all about. That's why they were fighting for this all the time. And so that's why her and the president crossed horns, and now she says she's America first. She's not MAGA anymore.
Yeah, they ain't friends no more. Yeah.
They're not friends anymore. So let me stop. But that's what that's about.
Can I interject real quick with something with all that to show you how it's all systematic and how it's all a game and it's all designed that way? Demetrius talked about how it's designed that the further you go out, you get better stores, right? We're thinking about dollar stores and all that. We're talking about diabetes and catching your problems when it's too late. Have you ever noticed that we used to talk about liquor stores and everything? They're in the hood. The further out the hood you go, the further you don't see them, right? That's not only with liquor stores. Think about the food stores and the food chains and the grocery stores that you see. The further you go out, they change a lot, and I mean drastically.
Yeah, and that goes to Derek's point about health. What we eat what we can afford. We eat what we have access to. We eat what we can get to. And that's what we eat, and that's why we are. And then all the things he said about not the maternity rate for Black women. There's a
Absolutely.
staggering number
Yes.
around Black women and maternity issues. That all these things tie in together, and it all goes back to the systemic process designed to do that.
So maybe there's a reason why we have all of the urgent care centers in low income neighborhoods.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all a process, right?
And it's set up. Location. I mean,
but the point that I think we both kind of made about preventive care is smarter and long-term cheaper and better. They make it harder and harder, right? They don't want to let you be insured so you can go. And Derek talked about the benefits of the Affordable Care Act, people catching stuff. Hey, you're pre-diabetic. Time to change your diet and get you on medication. Maybe, right? That helps out. I've been diabetic for so long, I don't remember. But you don't catch those things now. And so now Black people aren't eating well. They aren't taking medications they should. They're not going to the doctor as much as they should. Black women are having mortality issues, particularly in rural areas where they can't get to hospitals. Implicit bias that is documented in the healthcare system to Black women and the reduced in rural areas, like, just the chronic stress of having to live with stuff like hypertension that we're prone to, and preeclampsia, and all these things happen.
Yeah.
And they're all by design.
Now, Javon, when I was your age, I was invincible. I could not, ain't nothing.
You're still invincible
with me, But how does your generation feel about healthcare? Is it something is it necessity? I mean, or is this much to do about?
When's the last time you've been to the doctor, Javon?
The doctor. I mean,
like a checkup, straight up. Just
checkup.
Just getting checked.
I want to say like 3 years ago, because I remember going in there to like try and get some. I was trying to get another appointment with the psychiatrist to get treated for ADHD before I started school that semester, and they were like, "Oh, it's going to be another month," and I was like, "Okay, that's the last time I'm coming here." Because it's the next time I see someone, it's going to be another month. And I was like, dang, this really sucks.
Wow.
But yeah, anyways, back to your question. I mean, admittedly, I've been on and off insurance as an adult. Like, okay. I think actually, if I'm being so honest, I think when I turned 18, I got a letter in the mail literally saying, and I was on Covered California. I got a letter from Covered California saying, oh, you didn't sign a virtual document, so you're no longer insured. And then I tried to get back on insurance, and on the same like government assisted Covered California, and I was making just over the cusp as a dishwasher at a restaurant, so I did not qualify for it anymore.
And that's how I talked about earlier. Yeah.
I literally, and so I think going into adulthood, it was just like, all right, I guess I'm just raw dogging this. I'm literally just uninsured, and then I was lucky enough to get back on insurance later, and I'm about to lose my insurance pretty soon here if I don't continue to work full time at this new job that I have. But circling back to your question, like I think a lot of my friends, if I were to call up all my friends, I think probably more than 50% of them are not insured because they're just right over the cusp, and they make too much to qualify for government assisted insurance, but they can't. You're barely living on that wage if you do pay for insurance, out of pocket. So it's unrealistic for a lot of us young people, and we're literally just suffering. And I think a lot of people, I think the mentality that we have to push forward is like, oh, we're young, so we're not going to have medical issues in the first place, which is partially true. I mean, but it's also not. Like, what happens if I get hit by a car? Like, now what? So
how does that make you feel? How does that make you feel that our government is giving money to a country that has free health care for their citizens and all?
We have to separate those two things, right? We got to separate those. I mean,
I'm just asking.
We can't. I'm not trying to be that guy. I just don't.
I just want to, I want to know what this young man feels.
Okay, my bad.
That's it. I want to know what this young man feels that he can't afford health care. He doesn't make enough, but our country is giving billions or millions to another country who, and it's not about them giving the money to them. It's about we're giving money to a country that is doing it the correct way with their citizens and their country people because they love their country people, what does it say about our country if we're not following in them? And what does it say about them if they're not pressing us and asking us why aren't we? If you know better, do better. So if they're doing better, why aren't we doing what they do? How does that make you feel, Javon?
I mean, it's almost to the point where I don't even have energy to be angry. I just laugh. Like there's so many things to be angry about. Like it's laughable how ridiculous it is. And I mean, considering we're dumping money into countries committing genocides and all this other crazy shit, like that money that could be my insurance right there. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I could yell about this for hours, Masada. I truly can. But the fact of the matter is, it's laughable, and it's like there's already so much pressure and so much like we're already just trying to survive in so many ways as it is. It's just like we just gotta laugh and move on and hope that something bad doesn't happen to us. That's all we can do in this situation, unfortunately. So yeah, to answer your question in short, it pisses me off. It pisses us all off. What can we do? Like it was out of our control. We entered adulthood like this. So
But
what can I do?
Derek, didn't we have that same problem during our youth? Why are we still talking about the same problem in an America where supposedly in was the Civil Rights Act, was it 1972? Uh,
64, but
Yeah.
let me say this. Well, so many things to say here, but we were much healthier, quite honestly, James, when we were growing up. You didn't have all the air pollution, all the water pollution, all the pesticides. That's magnified now. Think about asthma. Uh, it's fairly rare. I knew a few kids with asthma, but asthma is really prevalent now. You know, there's so many things that because we're destroying our you know what am I
atmosphere, the
yeah,
air.
yeah, we really are, and global warming is a real thing. You know, and I'm doubling back here, but one of the things that uh, and Demetrius touched on it. Yeah, preventative and wellness services and chronic disease management was one of the key is one of the 10 essential health benefits. Immunization, screenings, and ongoing management for chronic conditions. So if you don't go, another thing that was a component of it was young people could get what they call catastrophic health insurance. So you weren't going regularly, but if something real bad happened, you were insured. So you paid a lot less for it, but it really if it really hit the fan, you had some health insurance. And one
Wait,
thing
so what happened to that?
huh?
What happened to that?
Well,
I've
no,
never heard of that.
yeah, it should be part of that California. Is it called Cover
Covered
California?
California. Yeah.
So the Democratic or the progressive states said, hell yeah, we're expanding Medicaid because the law was designed that all 50 states would expand Medicaid. But then, you know, the Republicans sued and said, well, what if we don't want to expand Medicaid? What if we don't want to cover our poor people? They didn't say it like that, but that's what it meant.
Right.
And so they didn't do it. So, you know, Illinois has it, Chicago has it, New York, I mean, California has it, New York has it, Pennsylvania has it. But the states, particularly the conservative states like mine, where the deepest vestiges of racism and Jim Crow still exist today, they didn't have it because they don't give a damn about you people. Who is it says they don't? What did he say in the Super Bowl last year? You know, what I'm
See
talking
my
about.
man
You
back
know,
there.
Javon.
Wait, what did he say?
Y'all know the rapper.
Kendrick.
Yeah,
Oh,
y'all know what I
Kendrick?
know. Masada knows what he says. I just can't remember, but basically he says they don't care about us, right?
Not like
Oh,
us.
yeah, yeah,
They're
yeah.
not like us.
Not like
Not
us.
like
Yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Hi.
Exactly.
Hello.
Hey, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm glad you got
Love
to bring the whole family, Masada.
Love it.
What a beautiful
They
thing.
they part of this. That's what we doing it for. Because
Yes.
we've been doing it since y'all been kids. I'm not keep trying to help my kids go through it. Javon, we trying not to have you. They say it's easier to build strong men, children than to fix broken men. I think we need to do it all. We need to do it all.
Yeah,
But they wanted to say hi to y'all.
It says that too. You're right, brother. That's it. It's easier to build strong children than broken men.
Yeah.
To repair them. So, but the one other thing about the Affordable Care Act, it said you could keep your kids on your plan till they're 26. And even the Republicans had to admit they love that.
Right.
And
right.
So,
But they did.
Yeah. Javon, your generation has some different mechanisms in dealing with the current system. I remember one, I believe, was like overbooking events and kind of sabotaging uh, political appearances. Uh, is that your generation's form of boycott, maybe?
Oh yeah, I mean, social media boycotting is huge, and I was actually one of the people who booked 10 tickets to that Trump rally that nobody showed up to. I had 10 seats there, according to their website. So, it's things like that. Things like that come up all the time. I'm pretty sure, when Target started promoting Israel, we flooded their pages so hard that they disabled all they disabled all comments and all their data. They disabled all of it, so we couldn't see anything on any of their ads. It's things like that. We will do everything as social media warriors to boycott, and it's free to leave a comment saying you don't approve of what a company is doing. You know what I'm saying? It's free to report pages that are talking about racism and are that are being racist. It's things like that. It's always on our mind, and it's free to do those things, and it has so much power these days, and our generation understands it's the best. So I'm very involved with that stuff. I would say, especially in my busy life where I can't, my body can't always be in the place where activism is happening. I can use my thumb to boycott in certain ways and fight for what's right. So that would be my main form of boycotting right now. And so, yeah, to answer your question, yes, absolutely. And I was one of the people that bought a seat to that Trump, 10 seats to that Trump rally. So, yeah, that's a very prevalent thing.
Thank you, brother, for letting us know that.
Keep it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was very unique when I heard about it. I'm like, these are things that, technology has made possible. But also, technology is also kind of it has been a two-edged sword. In closing, since we're talking about equality here, I would like to know how you gentlemen felt about the leader of the so-called free world talking to a woman a professional woman, regardless of her ideologies, whether she was pro-Trump, MAGA, or whatever, but to belittle a female like that in public.
Which time, James? Which one?
Yeah, no. Yesterday, today.
I think it was it yesterday when he referred to the lady
I know what you're talking about, but Derek makes
as Miss Piggy and
right.
I mean, here's a guy in Depends, talking about calling somebody Miss Piggy and telling her about how obnoxious she was, and I'm just wondering how we can keep this theme going on, because it is an ongoing theme with the whole administration when it comes to the rights of women. I believe, and maybe, once again, you can, call me a pessimist or whatever, but with this present Supreme Court, by the time they're finished, women might not even be allowed to vote. I mean, and once again, we're kind of watching this. What was that movie with eyes wide shut or something like that?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Demetrius, you know, put me on track here. I'm all over the place. Yeah.
No, okay. So I will go to. I have been consistent with that particular individual, and I keep it very, very simple. I don't get that emotional about him. I don't give him the luxury of impacting me. He has minimum four mental illnesses that I feel like I could qualify to document him. Right? We know that he has NPD, or narcissistic personality disorder. That's a given. I don't think anybody would challenge that. I think there's a different version called malignant narcissism,
Mm.
which I think some people have speculated he meets the criteria for. I think we've seen evidence of a cognitive decline that could or could not be dementia. I don't know. And I'm barely joking. I'm really
Yeah.
serious. And I think there's an antisocial and paranoid personality disorder that I don't know a ton about, but I know enough to know, like some Supreme Court justice said in the 70s about porn. I don't think there's a definition for porn, but I know it when I see it. Right? That's who I am. So that guy says something like that doesn't surprise me. What I will touch on a little deeper, what you said is, and I don't even know if this is a popular opinion or if the guys are going to agree with me. This country hates women, right? It is not a coincidence that he defeated, in theory, not practical data, two women and got his ass handed to him by an old white man. Right? Right. I'm talking about elections. That's not a coincidence. There are black men who told me they wouldn't vote for her. You guys know how I feel about her name. I'm going to be honest and tell you, Hillary Clinton was grossly more qualified than he was.
Absolutely.
Right? I have no problem, and I will sit down and speak data with anybody. I will give you my opinion, whatever you want about that person. He's not qualified. He's never been qualified. But what it tells you, the scary thing, is that there's a bunch of people who fell in line with him. And truthfully, in two of those elections, they were men. Some of them looked like us. Some of them were Hispanic guys who are now getting deported by his ass. Right? It is insane to me. And I think what it was that there is a thing in this country, the idea of a woman being the leader of the free world. There are men in our country, and it's sad. It saddens me. I'm not even mad about this, guys. This saddens me. There are men in this country who simply couldn't vote for a woman. That's scarier than anything that nut job can do. He doesn't even bother me anymore. I can deal with this for another 3 years and keep my life moving. God has blessed me too much. I got this podcast. I got friends. I got a good job. I got plenty of insulin. I got a woman that I love. I'm good, right? He will not get me. No matter what happens, he won't get me. But of all the things you said, forget him. It is the men who voted for him. I don't care what color you are. If you're an older, rich white dude, I guess I get it. Okay, fine, do you. Black men that voted for him,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I need to talk to you. I need to understand. Hispanic men that voted for him, I need to understand. Because both of these women, in every way you look at it, were eminently more qualified. Eminently more qualified than him. And so I still don't get it. I can only settle on, and it's hard for me to even say it, but that's where I am with 16 and 24, and it saddens me, hurts my heart.
I have a whole different. I have we agree, but we disagree on certain one. I have a whole different take on that. I question all my men. I do because I hear Tupac's voice in my head is, why do we hate our women? Do we take from our women? And hold your head up.
Right?
But
Exactly.
my whole thing is not the men really. It's the men, but it's the women. It's my women. All my loves out there, not just the women that voted for Trump, the women that still stand by him, the women that be on his campaigns, the women he can pay to
Yep.
still stand there with their little daughters and all while he's signing off on. He'll do one good thing and he'll ban men from with testosterone from competing against women, and you'll have all these women celebrating them. But y'all don't care about none of this other stuff. We don't care about that. Hillary Clinton was very more. Everybody, never. I don't want to talk bad about him because I'm like you, Demetrius. He don't want to. He doesn't get to me. The
Yeah.
people who allow this get to me because
Right.
you all voted for him as women, as men who came from women who came. I don't care if you got a sister or if you got a woman. I
Exactly.
don't care if you say that you identify as anything else. You came out of a woman. You came from a woman. So, with that, women, what are we doing? Men, what are we doing? We're allowing this one person. We keep talking. It keeps blowing my mind when we talk about politics. We talk about the American establishment and how things are supposed to go, and we could joke and say that he has so many problems and so many diseases or so many illnesses, but we're not talking about we have the power, I believe, to impeach and to get people out of that that's no good. And yet we allowed two qualified women, Kamala and Hillary, to not win because we hate them so much. And
Yeah.
women, you all hate you all yourself so much that
Yeah.
we're not doing anything to help out each other and say, you know what? I'd rather say everybody just say it like this, yo. I don't like you, I don't like you, but we don't like him even worse than what he's doing. So
Exactly.
let's get this embarrassment out of here. And
Yeah.
yet the women are quiet and they ride with him. I've had women fighting with me about him, about that type of stuff, and I'm like, what are you fighting about? I don't want nobody grabbing my mom, my sisters, anybody by the pee. I don't want
Right.
anybody doing any harm towards anybody, but definitely not towards a woman. And y'all are allowing this to happen. Not just the men. Yes, the men helped it out. The men are going with their ego. The men are being dumb. The women, what are we doing, women? What are y'all doing, my women? What are y'all doing? Black women, white women, every woman, what are y'all doing? It's
Right.
time to wake up.
Yeah. Anybody with a daughter, a sister, or a
My
mother.
mom.
What are you doing? He's got a documented history. He's got a document. I don't have to do a whole thing. He's got a documented history that any one of us can look up. And yeah, I don't know. I hope I answered your question.
34-time convicted felon, and would have been more if we could have got him in court more, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Brother Javon.
Sorry, we didn't leave you much, bro.
Nah, it's okay. Okay, well, so I was raised in a really feminist household. No, man, I was the only boy, and so this is kind of like I'm confident in this regard, and I got to stop myself from talking too much. But I think if I had to speak on behalf of young men in this whole big picture, I could say that the majority of young men don't really feel like. No, I don't want to say the majority. I just want to say that like a huge issue in this last. Am I still?
Yeah, you're good.
Am I still on the show?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah, you are the show now.
Okay. Cool. So I think the majority of young men, or not the majority, but like a lot of young men feel like they're not heard or seen by the left or feminism and stuff, which is not true. But that's how a lot of them feel. And so they didn't feel like they were ready to vote they just didn't vote for Kamala for a multitude of reasons regarding that, which is a result of a lack of education, which is a whole iceberg in itself. I mean, again, I could write a whole essay on this. But the bottom line, I guess, in this regard is young men on the left or people in our sphere need to find a way to introduce the left to young men in a healthy way that kind of breaks out of a lot of patriarchal expectations and misogynistic things that have been taught for generations upon generations. And again, it's a whole rabbit hole, but especially when you start talking about Trump and the misogyny that's kind of started to unravel itself. And then you get into like all the podcasters like Joe Rogan and stuff who are also act as like beacons of misogyny to like young men such as myself. There's a lot of layers to it. But I think overall, just if I could speak from my own generation and myself, just people on the left who would like to change and impact this specific thing, need to reintroduce a space for young men and just men in general on the left, in a way that doesn't feel uninviting. And I say that with a lot of caution because I don't think that women owe men shit. Realistically, I don't, especially given the historical context. I just don't think so. And so I don't say that with any blame towards women in any regard. But I do think if you want to look at it from a statistic standpoint, maybe Demetrius, you can back this up. I think that young men need to just again, have a space where they can feel a little bit more like they belong on the left, to impact the general ways of thinking and introducing a world where we could have a way more qualified Kamala Harris instead of Trump in office. I hope that makes sense.
Well said. Actually, it was very well said, my man.
But yeah, I guess that's where I stand on the matter.
It's very well said.
Well, in parting, guys, I think for last words and my last question to each of the panel, when did men start losing their balls? Anybody want to start that out? I mean,
I can make that really quick, and that's really it's weird for me to make that really quick, but they start losing their balls when they start selling their souls for money because they figured money would give them an easier life. So once you could pay somebody to go do something, that was it. I mean, look at the Diddy document. Look at all the other stuff. Look at different things where you talk about in there where people will do the wildest things just for a paycheck, just so they can be out the struggle. What Javon talked about, the struggle everybody's in right now. Once you gave some Trump's wife, if you want to talk, I said his name, his wife. People are do anything right now to have an easy life so they don't have to suffer and hurt. And that's when they start losing their balls, when they start being sellouts for money.
Beatrice, I got to come to you next because there was a guy that I don't usually you're in a hotel room, but usually I usually see his picture back there. So.
Yes, sir.
This guy let him cut off his balls and not go to Vietnam because he said
he's on the shirt. By the way, since he ain't on the picture, he on the shirt.
Well, I knew it. I figured
he's somewhere. He's somewhere.
But when you said you weren't at home, then, but usually I see it in back of you. I mean, if there was ever a man to have a bigger pair of balls that I know of, it was him.
I understand your statement. I do not agree with it. Right? Okay. I think I could make a case for a generation of fathers that might have failed, but then I would subset that with a system that incarcerated a lot of those fathers. I would give you the data on why those fathers weren't there, and that's where I would go. I would say systemically, absent fathers created a generation, maybe even two generations of young men, all due respect to the single moms who crushed it, right? Who worked their asses off. I get that. But there were a lot of, and those were the people who would have taught those men to respect women. Matthew Vergis and how he treated Mary, and how I watched him treat Mary every day, gave me the framework. There's a reason I've never raised my hand to a woman, and I never will. Because that's what I was taught. And I was taught that not just by Matthew, but by my brother and my uncles and other male figures. I had legitimately 12 like influential male figures in my life, from teachers to counselors to baseball coach. And all of them were aligned that we were going to be certain kinds of young men, right? And I think that there are a lot of young men who didn't have it, and it's not their fault. I know some of it is systemic. Some of it is they flooded our neighborhoods with drugs, and they put a lot of our dads in. A lot of these dads are in jail for having 6 ounces of weed or whatever the idiotic situation is. Some of it is that system. Some of it is a degree of I don't know. I think it's a shift to what Masada said is right too, though. I'm not taking away from what Masada said because there's a degree of that. I don't know if I agree with the premise that we lost him. This guy on my shirt certainly never lost his. And the reason he's on 15 shirts in my closet, a picture on my wall, is because he is one of the 3 men I would say I call idols. Biblically, I don't do idols like that. But Barack Obama has a place for me. This guy has a place for me, right? And so when you look at those things, and the other's my dad, by the way, right? So of those, my much shorter answer, is there's a bunch of things. They weren't lost. I think an absence of fathers in the household. We have a generation, maybe 2 generations of young men who don't revere women, which we should. To I think the point Masada made earlier, and we don't have, as you put it, they don't have both of their balls. They might be short one or whatever, but it's hard. It's hard. Like I had it, and I struggle when I say stuff like that because I had my dad and I had my brother and I had uncles and I had dudes in the neighborhood. I had it, so I can only imagine if you didn't, what that struggle might be like. But that would be from a data-driven guy kind of thing. What I would say, incarcerated dads or dads not being present or influential in the lives of their kids created a couple of generations of different kinds of cats. They're not wearing black socks like me and you right now. So a little different.
Brother Dick.
Okay, I'm gonna do a drive-by. Okay, so Trump is the current reason that we've lost our balls, not us, but the folk that have. No president has ever come in and done the things that he's done, and they're illegal, 3/4 of them, but nobody is standing up against him. Remember when, you wouldn't know this, Javon, but when Nixon did what he did, it was the Republicans that ran him out. They said, we ain't having this. Their own party. Now, these people, they're gutless and they're spineless and they're ballless. Okay. Number 2, you wouldn't know this, Javon, but go check this out. This group called the OJs. For the love of money, people will sell their own mothers. It's a classic sound. I know James and I were living there.
Oh yeah.
Pictures too. Basada, we committed $40 billion and gave $20 billion to Argentina in this last quarter to bail them out. They are the most bailed out country, progressive country in history. They have been bankrupt numerous times because you know who liked them. They like, and the guy, he's crazy, but we liked him. So yeah, what could we have done? How many people could we have educated with that money, right? But you know, so and so doesn't care. This one's for you, Demetrius. I'm gonna send this. I wish I had Javon's email address and James, give it to me. I'm gonna send you a picture. I'm gonna send you a picture. I spent 2 hours with Ali on a plane coming out of Detroit. When I had gone up for my dad's retirement, where he taught at Eastern Michigan, and he had retired, and we were stuck on the runway for 2 hours. I wrote this story about our interview with him for Playboy, and I have a picture of him holding my son. This was in late 1980 of my newborn son. So just so you want to make you a little bit jealous. That will make me jealous. I did get to meet him. He came to my high school in 1986, but he was really, the Parkinson's was heavy, so he didn't actually speak. This was a little before. This was a little before that, so the Parkinson's had him. So I'm going to read. He did magic tricks and crack jokes quietly in a room with us for about an hour, and he was everything I thought he was going to be. Yeah.
Demetrius, I feel like you. I don't have idols, but he would be one of mine.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I want to read you 2 sentences from my book that you see on the cover, just 2 on the last page. I said, I deeply love this country, and I always will, despite its glaring inconsistencies. And the other sentence I want to read on that same page, in all honesty, this before the election, I am deeply concerned that America has not yet matured to the point of electing its first female president in Kamala Harris, much less one of African and Indian descent. And of course, you know, we are certainly a patriarchal society, and I don't know what's going to take to change that. And we have more disrespect for women, particularly Black women, who, despite being the most educated person in this country by percentage wise, they are, you know, there's exceptions, but they are the least desired also.
Well, Javon, you want to take us home here?
I mean, sure. I think when asked the question, like, when did men lose their balls? I couldn't tell you when, but I can tell you how they could find them. They can find them if they break norms, break gender norms, and admit things to help empower women to take on roles that we've traditionally taken on that it doesn't financially or
Wait a minute,
statistically
hold on.
make sense for us.
You want me to have feelings? What
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes.
God forbid.
Javon wants you to give a damn. Yes.
God forbid. But
Right.
I mean, you got. I think men need to put their egos down and admit certain things to help empower our society, especially the women in our society. And that's hard for some men, but it don't matter. You got to do it. So, I guess that's how I would answer that question. And I guess on a different note, I think all of this stuff is just so valuable and for so much valuable information to me to take in and hear about. And so I guess I'm just deeply grateful to be able to sit in these meetings and learn from all you guys. And sometimes when these topics come up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so behind informationally. This is all such new stuff. But at the same time, I just cut myself a little bit of slack because I'm here. That's why I'm here. So I guess I would just leave off by saying I'm grateful for you guys as usual. And even though I am really busy, it's hard for me to tune in when I do get to come here. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
You give us hope, brother. You give us hope, young lad.
I'm trying. I'm trying, man. But
you're not trying. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it.
One thing, Masada, we're with you tomorrow, brother. We are with you tomorrow.
I'm with you all.
What you gonna do? With you tomorrow.
Do that thing.
I am, and I'm doing it while we're here. Brother James got to see the shirts I got for us and all, but y'all are gonna see them. I got some nice ones. Brother James likes them. I hope you all like them too. But we're here. And Brother Derek, I brought your book with me. I have it right here. No, I'm serious. We're all together in all of this. The numbers said I'm gonna use data. I'm gonna use living evidence and experience. Javon, brother, you're busy, but you're here, and that's all that matters. We're learning from you as well, and we do appreciate having you in here because we need you, and we need all of us. Like I said again, it's not older, it's not younger, it's not middle, it's all of us.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, as usual, I'm in this program right on time.
Best host in the business. Never late.
Time management. Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Hey,
all right, guys. Have a good night.
All right.
Appreciate everyone.
You guys have a good night.
And we'll see you next week.
Peace out.
Have a good one, everyone.
Peace.